dead girl.
I choose you, baby, and I'll tell you why. With the moonlight and the gypsy eyes, muse of the dreams, the dragon which flies, lady of the trees, the sky she rides. Hail Satan, hold you tight. I'm violent to the top, kiss her poisonous. Cassandra and the Cassio, Cleopatra serving up the red wine and black water. From atop the black rock direct, wake and bake select. The ghosts come in the set. Katie Katharina, the beast, collecting cake from the tricks. I choose you, baby, the muse of the dreams, the witch flies with sparkles in your eyes. Those who edge in purple, those who clad in purple garments, oracle ritual, death bubble purple, Medusa's portrait, adorn the temple of Venus. I choose you, baby.
Welcome back to Lady Babylon. This is Bed of the Muse on a Friday night. And I want to thank you for coming. This is going to be a real treat. What am I going to bring to you tonight? I'm going to bring to you a eunuch boy. I'm going to bring to you a boy whose vision helped to push the tide of time. This is a eunuch boy, and his name is Daniel. I'm going to bring him to you tonight, and I'm going to show you him doing his thing like you have never seen it before, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to wake up. It's fantastic. Thank you for coming tonight. I'd like to begin with a little feedback from people out there. I want to reach in and grab that. Remember Eros and the devil, right? Give me the first one. Here it is. Ricky Ricardo. Fantastic. Where is she? Full of light. Can't wait. I'm currently reading The Chemical Muse. Aside from being brilliant, Amen just might be the sexiest man alive. Yeah. Do you see that, Chewy? Do you see that? Right? Just take a minute to comprehend. Yeah, 100 twice, plus some fire. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It is that fire that burns, isn't it? Okay. What I want to do is I want to jump in tonight, and I want to give you text again. And this time we have a narrative. Oh, we'll also have commercials again. People like the commercials, so I brought some more. And I want to start off on a, you've got to give the devil his due before we bring in the eunuch, right? And you're going to see that eunuch, and you're going to be thinking, I'm going to banana that plum. And I'm going to be thinking, take that watermelon, you plum-eating banana. Here he comes. Here comes the eunuch boy. You wanted the mystery. Everybody's like, oh, show me the mystery. Oh, Chewy, there was something the watcher said to tell the congregation tonight. There was something they said to tell the congregation. I'll maybe think of it in a minute. But first of all, the devil. Everybody in the satanic congregation knows I have my meetings with the devil, right? They're, it's all business. It's all progress. And this time he stopped me before I left, and he said, you've got one thing you need to correct. And I was like, oh man, this is not a comfortable place to be. And I asked the devil, I said, what is that? And he said, you have to go verbatim anytime you recognize the muse, because devil's got a big thing. Devil's got a big thing for her, you know? And so he guards her very carefully. So let me correct myself with all due honor and diligence. Hail Satan. I didn't ask the muse, show me the mystery. I didn't. My exact words were, I don't know what I'm effing doing. I'm lost. Please, just sing. That's what I said. Okay? All right? Lucifer, did you get it? Fine. There we go. We're straight up, and that's how you work it. Do you see how that code works? It works this way. It's the living dead girl. It's the living dead girl. And if you think that I just pulled that out of thin air, I pulled that out of the Eleusinian mist. The living dead girl. Fantastic. Fantastic. Where are we going? Where's the eunuch? Does anybody want to see eunuchs out there? Hey, people, who wants to see eunuchs? I want to see some eunuchs. Blessed is the one who can shoulder the burden of being castrated and chemically transformed. That's what Jesus is talking about. That's what he says. Remember, he's giving out. Jesus Christ is handing out death-inducing drugs. Death-inducing drugs. Do you know why he's handing out death-inducing drugs? Because he is performing the mystery. The mystery. Now, we're going to find some text tonight and some deficiencies and some translation, whatnot like that. But I want to take you to someplace special tonight. I want to take you to someplace that is dank. And in order to do that, we're going to have to go to Babylon. We're going to have to go to Babylon. Because you know what happens. You remember Uula and Uliba, and they were like, they saw those men with the, what'd they call them? The horse privates. And they saw the thing they were doing with the virgins. Yeah. And these customs, these anthropological customs, they come out linguistically as the mysteries. And people ask me, what do I do? I'm horrified. I'm not asking you to do anything. I'm asking you to look at what that history is. Look at the history. Look at the language. Love it. Bring it out. Tease it out. You want to see some eunuch stuff? Let's get to the eunuchs. Come on. People are like, just bring him on. Bring him on. Eunuch. Where's the eunuch? Joey. Hit it. We're going to see the eunuch. Oh, before we do, take your medicine. People, you did not pay attention last time. I know it. I could feel it. I was like, oh, I didn't deliver that properly. So I am putting up this quote from the last time that we met in this clandestine way on the tube of the U. This is Edius of Amida, and he's the physician, and he's writing about Christings, in Christings, epichristings, perichristings. And in this, I wanted you to see an actual text so that people who talk like, oh, let me see the text. Here it is. I'd been telling everybody about the purple. Here it is. Eat this. Eat this. You know what this is? It's a lightsaber that just cut off your privates. Watch this, people. What does Edius of Amida say? He says we're mixing mixing in the serpent venom, specifically the deep sass, specifically. What do we do? Look at the second line, third from last word, engrie. We in Christ it. Do you know how you get, where are the images, Chewy? Do you know how you get your game on in the mystery? You thought it was walking up to the door, you're like, hey, good evening, Pastor Frank. Hey. And then they come on with some, oh, we worship, we worship, we worship. And the next thing you know, you're in the back alley and somebody's fingers stink. Yeah. This is what we're not here to give you. We're here to give you the mystery. Now, what I just showed you was a medical text talking about the use of drugs with an incrustationing. You're incrusting. Okay? And what's that going to do? Oh, God. Does it burn? Does it burn? It's with the purple. Remember, I brought the purple and showed you? And everybody's like, oh. Do you know what the biggest commodity was that they were trading? The purple. Everybody's like, no, it's metals. No, it's not. It's the purple. And the purple is dictating the names that people are creating for themselves to represent, to take a step from representing pirates who were dealers in the purple, trying to take that extra step to what the Greeks called the polis, city-state. That's what we call it, city-state. Yeah. The governing power. And that city, if you're an Athenian and you got any brains, is ruled by its demes, by its neighborhoods. Isn't that gorgeous? So that wisdom is what we're very much going to pull out of that eunuch. We're going to reach into Daniel and we're going to pull out right out of that eunuch. We're going to pull out Sophia. Are you ready for this? Now remember the Septuagint. I want you to keep this in mind. The Septuagint is written in the 3rd century. So what we are reading is all the Septuagint, and it's going to reflect what's going on in the 3rd century. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And again, the Greek words are that huge, right? Greek, Hebrew, Greek, Hebrew. That's word size, you bunch of perverts. I love it. I love your perversions. Why? Why do I love your perversions? Yes, they're wonderful. Give me the next one. Let's go. Let's go in deep. People, look, I'm going to take us through the gospel. And why am I doing that? Because we're looking at what the followers of Abraham, what they were doing. What kind of people were these? We're going to do this backwards, right? Because that's the way the devil always says to do it. You do it backwards, right? It's much more efficient. This is Luke 16:24. Yeah. And he says, oh, who is this? Doesn't matter. He says, Father Abraham, have mercy on me and send over Lazarus in order that he might dip the tips of his fingers in some water, sprinkle it on my tongue because it hurts. I'm in the flocks. Do you remember what Abraham was doing? Leave it up for a second. Do you remember what Abraham was doing last week? We found the flocks in Greek, right? Here it is. Here it is. What is the flocks? It is that flame. If you knew the purple, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. It is that flame. Who is the devil, Abraham? Who is the devil? The devil is Eros. Have you been burned by the flame? Okay, remember, we're with Scythian Paphia, who's the Meddewa. Think of the healer who is the Aphrodite from the Scythian culture. And that's the sexiness upon sexiness that you get in the cosmos. It just pours out of everything. Oh, God. Oh, it's too much. It's too much, devil. We got to keep going. I'm going to get burnt. Give me the next one. Did we talk about everything in that? Wait a minute. Let's go back because there was something going on here. Send over Lazarus, right? So he can, what's going on with my tongue? What's going on with my tongue? Did anybody realize we got to the cult before I even said we were going to go to it? What do you got? You got tongues of fire. You got tongues of fire. It's an effect of the drugs that they're using in the rites where they're using the eunuch boys. Why is that? Because the body chemistry is different. This rite is brought to you by the Klusmos. When your conitis is shaking his posterior and it gets dirty, use this. Wash him out. Brought to you by doctors all over the Mediterranean. Fantastic. Let's go. Isn't that nice? It's let's go to it. Come on. Oh, God. What? Where is that source? They're so wily tonight. Let's go to this one. Hey, people, where is this guy? He's in hell. He's in hell. Do you know where hell is? It's in Abraham's lap. It's where the circumcised go, to Abraham's lap. Do you understand how the power emanates from the patriarch of the sex trafficking, drug trafficking, pirate gangs? Do you understand how it works now? We're going to see more of this tonight. You're going to think, oh, there's just one. Oh, it's only one time that Abraham gets called a pirate, right? It's only one time. No, turns out it's all over the place. Now, why is this? Wake up for a minute. It put a spell on you. This is the 3rd century author writing this in Greek, right? And the same dude that wrote our sources tonight, Daniel, that our sources in Daniel, that dude is the same author as Genesis. Yeah, undoubtedly. Yeah, and you'll say, "Oh, that's not what the hoo-ha says. That's not what the hoo-ha says. Come here, Mr. Bible degree. Pull down your little pants. I'm gonna go be with your wife in her dreams." Sorry. I've got to get it out every once in a while. I know people write in and they say, I don't like that. Guess what, Timmy? Where's Timmy? Is Timmy coming tonight? Who wants Timmy to show up tonight? I want to see Timmy. If you want Timmy to show up, Timmy. Okay, give it. Do we have any? Or they better be chanting. Give me the next one. What is a kolpos? Because this is what you're on. Right? Did you understand the verse that I flashed up there? Dude in hell sees a kid in the lap of Abraham. He's in his kolpos. Wait a minute. Is this word used in the mystery in any sort of special way? Hit it. Oh, blow it up. Okay. What does that say at the top? I doyan gunaikean. You hear gynecological in that, right? It's the woman's privies. It's the woman's privy. Especially, look at these dirty Victorians, right? Especially the vagina. Especially. Colpoites husteras, supposed sinuses in the womb. In poets, more vaguely, the whole sinus genitalis. Womb. Fine. Look at the bottom one. Look at the bottom one. The womb of time. I bet you weren't clever enough, to the dudes out there. I bet you weren't ever clever enough to come up with an imagination of such a thing. I bet you weren't. And I bet the Amazonian women who are still out there, I bet you live that. I bet you do. What's the other cities? Okay, let's go to the next one. That's the call post. That's the call post. And the kid is in the call post of the pirate. Right? Do you remember where we saw these people? Who are these people who are involved in this cult with these drugs? One of these, I'm translating now, one of these dudes is rich. He was rich. Yeah, he's all decked out in the purple. Right? And he's got that fine linen that they dye. Right? And what is he? He's walking around happily stoned. Euphrenomenos. You know where his mind is? He's in bliss, baby. Do you remember that island that we went to? Chewy, do you remember the island where the lotus eaters were? I didn't want to come back. I just want to sit there all day and eat that lotus. Oh, God. Did we talk about the mystery as a healing rite? Do you know why they're walking around? Jesus, physician. Oh, did you think that he went to, he was just like, oh, he's the divine physician. Oh, you know, I don't know. It sounds like, did you hear that? The halo's wearing off. Oh, it got lower there. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, but it's not standing up to scrutiny. These sources are telling us a whole different story. Anthropologically, let's watch these people get baked some more. Give me the next one. This is beyond baked. This is like, oh, I'm going to go out and sacrifice my only son. Kind of. You got to be in a place for that. Yeah, no, that's okay. Give me that one. And here's Luke, right? Yeah, it's not the case. The dude says, Father Abraham, right? Listen to me, he says, I've got an idea. If somebody comes back from the dead, the people who are doing the things they shouldn't be doing, they'll change their minds. They'll change their minds. They'll turn. Okay. Does anybody know? How did we get here? Right? Are we in a cult? Yeah, you very much are. You're following the mysteries. You're following the mysteries. Okay. Why the references to Abraham? Because anyone who has been initiated knows. Right? 3rd century. 3rd century. We are taking the system that the Greeks themselves have perfected, and we're creating a fictional knockoff. That is the Septuagint. Isn't that interesting? Look at the mystery. And how do we know? What's the real, the thing that nobody can say, oh, it's Arabic. How many books do you have in Aramaic in the 5th century, you boneheads? You got 0. You got nothing. Pay attention to the mistress of history, the mistress language, Mother Greek, that sexy, living, dead girl. Oh, God. Did they give us Lotus yet? Or are we going to be stuck here? Come on, Chewy. We got to get through this. Give me the next one. Keep us on target, right? Oh, God. Who are the people, by the way? So here we are. we're in the middle of the mystery with Jesus. And what does he say? It's impossible not to scandalize, right? Okay. Look, I'm the head of a religion, says Jesus, right? You can call me Lord. I'm a son of God. Yeah. And you join me, you will get scandalized. And what kind of scandals is he talking about? Give me what kind of, I don't know. Because it could be a good thing. Like, well, maybe all the locals are jerks. And that's what evangelicals spew. I know it because I spewed it once too. I spewed it on him. I spewed it on her. I spewed all. Oh, God, it was a spewing fest. Yeah. Yeah. Who are we talking about scandalizing? Scandalize. Ton micron tu ton hena. One of the micron. One of the little ones. Do you know what kind of scandal we're talking about? Yeah, you do. Do you know the fury that follows the scandal that Jesus says we're inevitably going to have to undergo? Right? And he gets all predicty with who's going to go out and do it. Right? Okay. All right. It's part of the game, man, when you're a pirate. It's part of the game. Even though he's saying in his last breaths, I'm not a laestays. I'm not. It is a part of his traditions. Child trafficking for the sake of sexual gratification was the spark that drove the ancient cartels led by people like Abraham. Okay. Yeah. It's all in the Greek. You just have to watch. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Where's the next one? Chewy, star charts. Boom. Okay, people, a little surprising. Now, look, you've heard of this guy. I'm taking you to Babylon now, right? Everybody got back on the bus. Now, we're gonna go to Babylon. And who's going to be ruling there? The second word, Nabuchodonosor. 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 Do you know who that is? That's the guy you call Nebuchadnezzar. And the reason you do is because of the fake Hebrew that was used to try to translate this 3rd century document. Fantastic. Who's he? He's the Basileus Babylonos. Right? Fantastic. Fantastic. Give me the next one. And what is he doing? Oh, by the way, what is he doing? Blow it up first and bring on some images. What is Nebuchadnezzar doing? He is taking the boys. What's he taking boys for? He needs his eunuchs replenished. Don't you want to support the industry? Don't you want to have the vision? Do you want to see him, what he uses the boys for? Do you want to see him? Okay. This is Bible, people. Why does nobody read the Bible? How does he use them? How does he use them? Go. Let's give me the next. Give me that source. I think it was the one we put up that I said, run. So what does he do? He takes eunuchs, but he also, very importantly, and who are they? Captives, dude. Gangs of pirates. They come in, they wipe them out because they have a superior military force, right? It's Babylon. Do you have a problem with that? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Better police force, military. Woo! Right? This is big time. It's just like those Romans, baby. And what happens? So they collect also their scaleway, right? Their scaleway. What are their scaleway? First of all, they kidnap some boys, and then they do what? They take their scaleway. This is their equipment. Wait a minute. What kind of kid comes with equipment? Look at number 2 at the bottom. Look at number 2. Do you see that Greek word there? Idoion. Do you remember I told you there are many, many words for genitalia? This is one of them. Okay. They're even taking their equipment. Okay. All right. Now, what are you going to do with this kid? That's the question. What are you going to do? Give me the next one. Give me the next one. Oh, here, by the way, here's a vessel. Here's the scalewas. Tune it with the gender and it becomes the vessel. Make it neuter. But watch this, people. Look at the elegance of the Greek. This scalewas, this vessel, is the body, right? It's what carries the soul. And then look at number 3 at the bottom. You know what that is? Idoion. My genitalia are the vessel. It carries the power of the universe. Oh, seriously? Okay. People are going to ask me, like, okay, wait a minute. I didn't see this on the pamphlet. Right? Remember when I told you all that, and by the way, for those people who are hanging in there and going back and binging the satanic initiation so you don't have to be left behind at certain spots so you can have ears to hear. Nice job to those people who are doing that. People, I love it. And I think that's a good way to catch up. And I think the best way to do it is on times 2, right? Just do it on time. It's kind of funnier that way. And, cuts through any pauses, lets you learn a lot faster, I think. Okay, where were we? Oh, Chewy. Give me back the text. Oh, here. We're looking for young boys. That's right. I forgot. We're with Nebuchadnezzar, who wants eunuchs, right? And what's the shape that these boys have to be in? It's in the first line. They can't have any momos. They can't have any momos. Okay. Do you have any momos? I don't. And they have to be kalus. They have to be hot. Remember the boys that Alexander, the false prophet, worked with? These are the kind of, so you can order these boys in antiquity. I would like, it was DoorDash, piracy DoorDash, right? What do you order up? I'd like one that is very good looking and has no momos. What is a momos? It's a birthmark. It's some kind of It was because we brought the menu. Look, people, this is from the Bible, right? What are we looking for? We're looking for eunuchs like Daniel, and they have to be without momos, without any sort of birthmark, without any sort of complexion that is unseemly. No freckles. I've got to think about freckles. You can't be an oracle and have freckles, right? I don't know, right? But we want those oracle boys, and I'm going to show you, like Daniel, that we're going to put through the mystery. We want them to be without any sort of marks. Yeah. And what do they have to? They have to have their stuff together and be very smart. They have to hang out with Sophia, he says. And they got to have gnosis. They got to have gnosis. Speaking of which, Neil will be here in a few minutes to answer questions, maybe to answer questions. And what else besides the gnosis? They got to have phronesis. What is that? Well, gnosis is that understanding. Phronesis is the ability to use that understanding. You might say it's something like prudence, right? A prudent person, right? How to use your gnosis. And, they want these kids to be strong in that. And they want them to be advisors for the king. Oh, isn't that nice? So they teach them. Look at the second to last line. Grammata. Grammata and glosson Chaldeon. And the tongue of the Chaldee. Okay. What are they doing? Did you get it restored? Did you get it restored? You did it. You did it, Chewy. Give us a heads up. Give us a heads up out there if we. Oh, there it is. Oh God, there it is. Okay, she did it. Fantastic. Good. Nice. Good. Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, here we go. Look, she's real. Oh my God, Chewy, you're real. By the way, people are loving the songs of our Orpheus, right? Teddy Bass. Love it. We wouldn't be here without his choir to sing us in. I love it. Where were we? Oh God, we were teaching the grammata, the letters. Now, remember, this is a reflection of 3rd century Alexandria. What is the big thing in Alexandria? Exactly what he's talking about. This is paideia, right? For eunuchs in Babylon. And he's using the same terms. He's using the exact same terms. Why? Because he's reflecting what is in his environment, and he's trying to broadcast it to the past. Isn't that interesting? Some people wrote straight up histories. People like Herodotus, people like Thucydides, they just wrote straight up histories. All right, these are the cultures, these are the languages, this is what they do, that kind of thing. Some people wrote pseudo histories. But the problem is, when you do that, your own fingerprint is going to linguistically work its way through, and you're going to get caught eventually. And that's what we've got. That's what we've got. So let's see from the Greek what actually happens. Give me the next one. Oh, God, you're going to love this. Go ahead. Oh, no, are we stalling again? Look. What? Oh, here. Boom. Look, we really did. We took a hit from a TIE fighter. Okay, look, can we not get any visuals? Oh, God. Oh, it's the worst case scenario. People. Now, listen, for those of you who are going to write in and comment about my camera, it's not my camera. This is internet problems for me. In the place that I live, in the place that is my kitchen, we cannot get beyond 8 Mbps. So we are stuck in 1988. Yeah, you've got to. Okay, we're going to restart the Falcon again. Hit it, Chewie. Hit it. They'll stay. Hey, people, I'm sorry. Please forgive us. There he is. It's the young boys. Are we back? It's the young boys. Okay, look, people. Neaniscus, just like Jesus had, right? This is Daniel when he does his dreamy, lovey, mystery stuff after they cut his testicles off and give him drugs. Go. What are we looking for kids without? We don't want them to have any sort of defects. We got to have those perfect little kitties for our mystery rite that is Judaism and Christianity. Fantastic. And what else do we have? They have to be beautiful. Remember that. That's what it says in the Bible, right? These eunuch boys that get to that state where they can harness God. Why do you think Yahoo wants to come down and enter that vessel? Why do you think that expression of the Logos wants to come and enter that vessel? It's because they got no blemishes. They're gorgeous. And what else are they? Kalus. Right? What else are these eunuchs? They got the gnosis. And this is something Septuagint scholars are so terrible at. They think is weird, but it's actually Greek. Anywho, look at the repetition of the roots. Love doing that. They're so addicted to that, right? It's that gamma nu, baby. Give me some of that gamma nu. Here's some grammata. That's what they're teaching. Now, are they? Are they? No. They're doing it in the 3rd century, and we're back writing it so that we can tell a story that is not an actual history, right? And remember, there's a deed involved in all of this. There's a deed. Okay. Give me the next one. Boom. What happens here? Look at verse 20, right? This is Daniel again. This is chapters 1 and 2 that we're going through. And these kids have to be smart. They have to be learned, right? And they have to be able to exceed the other smarties, schools of smarties, colleges of smarties around them. And it lists them out here. Who is Daniel got to be better than? He's got to be better than the epoidus, the epodes. What is an epode? I'll show you in a minute. He's got to be better than the magus. What are the magus? I'll show you in a second. Give it to me. Next one. What is it? What is the epode? What are these people with whom the eunuch must compete? Yeah, give me the Greek. Love it. Love it. Singer. Now, notice here they talk about songs or charms. When they say charms, they mean drugs. Drugs. Why? Because there is a unity between singing, performing magic, and healing. Yes. Did you know you can change somebody's superstition with the right face and the right song? You can change somebody's mental disposition. I can take a jerk and turn him into a humble, appreciative lover in a second. Yeah. You just have to have her, right? You have to have that image, right? That living dead girl image. When we go to Eleusis, the reason we come back and we're not afraid of death anymore is because we have all seen the living dead girl. Right? Oh, are you beginning to see? Are you beginning to see? Oh, God, get back on the throne. Quick, before those TIE fighters come back. Give me the next one. Look at this, people. You know what an epode is? It's an enchanter. A goes, right? Oh, God. Look at assisting profitable, right? Okay. What is a goes? What is a goes? It's a kind of old Greek magician. Old Greek magician. And what are they really? They go around chanting, mourning. Give me the next one. Chanting and mourning. Look at this. Sometimes they're called sorcerers or wizards. Sorcerers or wizards. And when people don't like them, they call them cheats. You know, there was a sorcerer named Apuleius who went on trial. What happened to him? There was this really rich woman, and she was like, not young. Okay, I'm sorry. That's what the story is. I didn't say that. She was, past her prime. And Apuleius comes in, and all of a sudden she wants to marry him and to give her a sign over all her possessions to him and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Do you know what he got tried for? Having charmed her. And when I say charm, I don't mean, he met her at the coffee shop and just happened to be a good talker. No. I mean, he drugged her. The act, I want to make sure you understand this. And Chewy, maybe you have slides for this, I don't know. The act of intercourse in antiquity is an act that involves using drugs. It involves using drugs. It is a part of gynecology. And the women who know which drugs to use. And which do what? You can order a cocktail of the stuff. And they apply it in all sorts of different ways. Sometimes to the side itself. Directly to the genitalia. Nope. This one's got to be introduced rectally. Oh. This one they smear all over their mouths. Yeah. And then they medicate each other with those mouths. You mean there's a psychedelic component to sex? Yeah. Wake up. Look what they're doing to the brain. Look how they're tuning via this chemistry that I just showed you. They are Christing venoms in their eyes. I don't know. Once you've combined the purple with that venom. I don't know what it is that takes you to that death. I don't know what it is that brings you back, but I know the experience of the Christ is what these mystery practitioners are doing. It's all their motivation. Are you ready to see it? I'm about to show you Christ in the book of Daniel. You didn't know Christ was in the book of Daniel? Well, it's not the Christ you're thinking of, but it's the process of Christing. It's the process of Christing. You mean Christing involves a eunuch boy and a dude? Not just any dude. It's got to be a son of God. It's got to be a son of God. Now, if you knew the drugs, you would understand exactly what I'm saying. Right? And if you've been around initiation and seen the drugs, you know what I'm saying. Back on the throne. Every time we got to go back to the throne. Give me that one. Boo, give me that. Gorgeous. Oh, look at this. What do you do when you're hexing? You're groaning. You're groaning. Now, Daniel's got to be better than these people, right? Give me the next one. He's got to be better than these people. Who are these people? And you say, oh, the Magi. Oh, the Magi. No, it's not your stupid conception of the Magi. No, we don't want that. We don't need that. Thank you very much. Theology? No. All we need are texts. And what does the Magos do? What does the Magos do? They're the ones who are involved so deeply with the complex drug concoctions. They can get you, give me the next one, they can get you to do anything. These are the people who can get you to do anything, can get your mind to any sort of mental state that they want it to be. Whether they want to pep you up as a soldier, whether they want to interrogate you as a conspirator and an insurrectionist, they do that too, right? They're the equivalent of the secret service of the king. Yeah. Secret service. They have to come up with the goods. And part of the goods for the secret service are visions. Visions. Okay? Visions. What do we got going on with Daniel? We got something called Paidaria. I told you people, it says these 4 boys, right? These 4 boys, what are they? They're Paidaria. Tell me, what is Paidaria? What is Paidaria? It's a bunch of little boys. Now, if you thought Daniel was 30 when this is happening, look, this is something special. You got to get the ones that are this age. You got to get the ones that are this age. Notice it's both masculine and feminine when you're talking about Paidarian, right? Because what is Paidarian? Paidarian is that bloom. Yeah, is that bloom. Okay, remember, they're not talking about years. They're talking about life development stages. Okay. All right. Good. Give me the next one. And what are they looking for? What are these people looking for? They're all looking for mercy from God, the God who is in Uranos. And what are they looking for? They're looking on behalf of the Mysterion. Yeah. Why? Because they don't want to get destroyed. You see, what's happened is the king has had a dream, and when he woke up, he couldn't friggin' remember it. But he said, this was a vision. And he got all of his secret forces together, all of his brainiacs, and said, tell me what it is, right? Or I'm going to kill you. And so they couldn't. So he started killing people. What kind of, look, people, may I remind you that it was Medea who civilized these people, right? They were going for Mudbrick. They went back and forth from Mudbrick to Mudbrick. She came in, built a bridge on the Euphrates, a tunnel for people to go in with all this elaborate architecture. What the? Seriously? They even describe how she built it. Oh my God. Can you believe that? They just go from that back to Mudbrick. I don't know what happens. They didn't have a language that kept them together, though. Did you notice that Chaldee took a plop into Le Toilette? Oh, God, somebody's going to write to me again about Gilgamesh. Who would have thunk it that Gilgamesh had so many fans out there? So many fans of Gilgamesh. It's not literature. Come here, Gilgamesh and Enkidu and all your friggin' stupid hairy buddies. Oh, yeah. That's from Apollo. I hate it when he does that. Don't you realize? Okay, let's get back to it. Here, people, I don't want to take advantage of people's time. We already lost a couple hundred who were like, dude, get your equipment together. No, it's part of the show. You'll grow to love it. I promise you. I want to show you something, people, real quick. Who is this guy? Who is this guy that's talking about this Yahoo, this Kurion, right? He's the one who knows those things that you got to know, right? He's going to show you the deep things. The things that are apocryphal, it says in Greek, the things that are hidden, right? You've got to be able to know if you're Daniel and you are the king's boy, you have got to be able to look into the darkness. Now, this is actually, that's what it says, literally, right? To see that light, you've got to be able to look in the darkness. But let me explain what they're doing. In the 3rd century, when this is being written, they're using boys for divination, very special form of divination, where the boy, who of course has to be naked, the naked oiled boy, is to look into water, the element. He has to stare into the water, and through the water, he'll receive the elements of the future. Oh. Okay. Wait, what drug was that? I forgot which one we put in that eye salve again, but it's starting to burn my skin. That's why you'll see them all with the paste, the chalky paste on their cheeks, because that stuff runs down your skin and it hurts. It hurts. Love it. Medea can go up in flames. You should see her. It's quite the show. Give me the next one. Give me the next one. What else is happening? We're talking about the Ion again, and we're talking about Sophia again. I want you just to realize how much of what you thought was the quote-unquote Old Testament or Torah, what is actually the Septuagint, how much of this are cult terms that we're coming across frequently in the Greek sources that predate this by centuries. Right? And post-date it by centuries. Right? It's gorgeous. Give me the next one. Okay, I want to read this one. So Daniel answered in the face of the king. Right? Daniel steps up because king starts killing people. Oh, shit, you can't tell my dreams. Frig it, you're going to die. Right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's on something. But I don't know. It sounds like Al Pacino or something. And so what happens? He says, he's been given the mysterion. Yeah, right. It's the mysterion that he's looking for, which is the answer to his question of what was my dream. Daniel understands because he is initiated. He's using the language right here in the Septuagint. And by the way, if you want to check, let's just check. Look, here's the word, that we're looking for in Greek. Here's the word that we're looking for in Greek. Okay, mysterion, and its concept. How are we going to translate that into dead Hebrew from the 1st century BC when we're all sitting in Qumran, being zealots, hanging out, not going into cities and stuff because we're zealots, and we're going to create some Hebrew that hasn't been around for hundreds of years. So what are we going to do with this word? Oh, man. The Greeks. What are we going to do with this one? What do we do? With it? Oh, look at this. Raz. Tell me, what is the meaning? Raz is a secret. Raz is a secret. Look what they did. They spoke. Do you know there's no secret? What are you talking about? A secret. Look at the word origin, Aramaic. Or, right, does this say or? No, a foreign origin. Right? It sounds like a lot of possibility and probability. Sounds to me like you created this word Raz from Mysterion. Sounds to me that's like what you did, because the meaning, you'll never be able to, the depths of this one, you won't be able to go. Look at the verb that it comes from, mueo. Mueo, right? Mystery. Secret rite. Do you see that this doesn't mean secret? This is the secret rite. The mystery is a performance. It's a performance. Did you forget about Bacchus and all of that? It's theater and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Look at this. First appears in Heraclitus. Nice pre-Socratic references to it. Herodotus talks about it, right? We talk about the Kabiri and Samothrace and what they're doing. We talk about Demeter and Eleusis. What else? What else are these things that Daniel is talking about? He's talking about mystic implements. Do you remember the musteria that we took when we captured those pirates and then took all of their children, the young, good-looking boys that didn't have ears that were different places, and looked nice? We took those and we clip, took off their little testicles. We are working with the musteria. Do you know why you are circumcised? At this time, you are circumcised because you are part of a gang of pirates who were involved in sex trafficking. That is why you are circumcised. It has everything to do with your sexuality and how it will be sold. Did we get that through? I think that's what we need. They load that one up and the whole thing's going to go off. Yeah. I love it. Let's go back. Did we miss anything up here? I just want to make sure we didn't miss anything up here. Go back to this one. Yeah, this is more. What is I want you to notice third from the bottom line. This is where we're talking about the Mysterion. All right, this is Daniel. We're talking about the Mysterion. And these Mysteria are going to be revealed. Right? And he's back. Look at the eschaton. Quick. Third line from the bottom. The eschaton. What is it? People, that's where we get our word eschatology from. Again, another word. You're not going to be able to represent this in Hebrew, right? It's too sophisticated, right? And so they don't. Keep going. Let's see. Next one. Yeah, that one. Yeah, you're right. That one. No, underneath that. Boom. No. Eschaton here. Oh God. Wait a minute. This is good stuff though. Look, here's a little mystery. Here's a little more mystery. Look at it. The remedy is my secret. My secret remedy is a medicine. It's in Galen and Alexander Traley's at the very bottom there. My secret medicine. Is it a secret? No. It's a drug combo that we're using in religious rites. Yeah. These are the implements that you can take if you're Nebuchadnezzar. Did you know what happened to this king? By the way, anybody know what happened to this king? He loses it. He loses it, bro. I told you, don't trust those magi. I told you, stay away from the magi for now, right? You got to be careful. They're going to be offering you stuff. Next thing you know, you're going to be out, and doing crazy things. Absolutely. Come on. Where's Nero? Nero has to be fed people that he can fight with. That's where we're going, right? Give me the next one. No, it's this one. Mystical truth, right? What is that eschaton? What is that eschaton that we're talking about? What is it? Give it to me in Hebrew. How do we translate that in Hebrew? Well, it's the end. The end. Again, word origin, probably Aramaic, maybe from this word. We don't know because none of these languages ever wrote anything. Seriously, they didn't. No, they had been so dominated by the Greek that there was no literature, right? There is absolutely no literature. When you people, and they look at you funny when you say, hey, outside of the Septuagint, where are the Hebrew medical manuals? So they don't exist. I'm sorry. Where are the Hebrew lyric poets? They don't exist. I'm sorry. Right? They have to be backtracked into history. They have to be placed back in history. And that is what the story of the translation of the Septuagint is all about. It is an attempt to seed history with things that were not. Why? To justify. To justify what? Well, in a lot of cases, if you get to know the prophets, you'll find this out. In a lot of cases, it's genocide. Monism gravitates to genocide, right? Monism gravitates to genocide. Okay. That's why you don't see resistance to it, right? That's why monism doesn't actively strive to resist the giants that would just come in and destroy a village. Do you know any of these giants? I knew one that went into a village with some special fire from Uranos and blew up a building where Anastasia's father was and killed him, and then left the countryside, left everything, just rubble. A giant destroying the world. The tyrants have been unleashed. I think that's what the watchers were saying, something about that. That's what it was about. I wish I could remember. They're going to be so mad if I get back and I didn't do that. Something about tyrants. You love the tyrants, something along those lines. Watch them rise, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I'll have to go. They always, they try to keep it simple, but it's distracting. Give me the next one. We're going to go. What is the eschaton, right? Look at this. It's space, as always, in Homer, the furthest, the uttermost, the extreme. Okay, give me the next one. I'm starting to get it. It's the extreme. Okay, we're going to breeze through this. Because my internet is failing, as you can obviously see. And then we're going to get to Neil. The eschaton is something special. I just want you to realize that, and you can't convey it in the Hebrew. It doesn't come across. Look at this. In the logic of Aristotle, right? What are those things that are eschatotic? They're the lowest species. Right. Look at the bottom, the atomon. What does that mean, right? When he says species, he doesn't just mean like we think species, right? The atomon, there is atomism right there. These Greeks are talking about the atomic theory, and you think, oh, Democritus is the first to talk about it. Oh, great. Look what Aristotle's doing. This is the power of their language. Give me the next one. It's the last step in geometrical analysis or ultimate. It's called the ultimate. Look at the expression below. Right? Ta eschaton archetes praxeos. Right? It is that final condition, right, of the deed, the thing that's being practiced, or the action itself. Right? The ultimate condition of action, final step. Okay, look how they're how they're tuning these words, right? And these are in the text, but the Hebrew can't. The Hebrew just can't bear that burden, right? So I'm translating seeing him. What is this? He fell at his feet, and he starts talking to him. He says, saying a lot of stuff. But he says, look, I've got a thugatrion. I've got a little girl who's eskatos eche. She has or is in a state that is the eskatos. It is that extremity. Would you please understand this is where we go in the mystery. This is where we go. And that's why it's showing up in Daniel. Because it is part of the mystery, as he himself said. We've got the boys. We've got them castrated. We've got their supplements going. What more of the mystery do you want? Do you want? Don't ask me, should we do this? Right? Is this, I feel funny. I feel strange. No, just stop and watch the anthropology. And yeah, it hurts. It hurts my brain too. But this is the reality that's behind the fairy tale. Yeah, love it. And it's quite revealing about history. Give me one more text. We'll buzz through these because I want to get to Neil. I got that itch. Wait. Yeah. Just look at this. Yeah, we're getting okay. Look at this text. What are we getting? We're getting drunk. And what are we doing? We're looking for Spelaya. We're looking for Spelaya. Excuse me. Those are grottos. We're looking for grottos. Okay, we've got our boys. We've castrated them. We're Christing. And we've got our grottos. And if you look at the end of that line that starts A, it's the top line, you'll see the word laystone. What is a grotto? It's a place where you go. If you are a child trafficker who is involved in the mystery, you see the circumcision is the sign in the flesh. Do you understand why the boys now are circumcised? We're going to the grotto. And look at number 2. The privy parts. The privy parts, you mean you want Abraham's kolpos again? The privy parts, people, I'm not making this up. Look at number 2. It's in Daniel. What do we want? We want the privy parts. Do you know what you get to do behind the skene in the theater? These are Bacchants we're talking about, right? Satyrs. Satyrs. And what do satyrs do? Behind, I'll let you guess. I'm not going to spell it out, but I'll let you guess. It involves these eunuchs. Get your klezmer ready. It's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long night. Hit me. I just wanted you to see a couple of these other ones. Look, we've got the money and the fantasies going on. I just wanted you to see that. Daniel is great. He's great with the dreams, but I want you to look here. I want you to look here. This is verse 13. We're talking about the salvation, the soterion lao, the salvation of the people, and the tusosai, the salvation or the saving or preserving of what? Ton Christon su, your Christ. Do you see who we worship? You Christians and you practicing Jews, right? Which, by the way, I've been in Israel, and most of the people that I was around were like openly hostile to practicing any sort of friggin' religion, especially when we were walking into synagogues and the women that we had worked with all week couldn't friggin' be around us anymore, right? That monism drives to the tyranny that is ultimately misogynistic. I think maybe it was that. Was that what the Watchers were? A bunch of misogynists, right? A bunch of misogynists. You're rooting for the giants, people. Why are you rooting for the giants? They're going to destroy everything. Give me the next one. Give me the next one. Yeah, here's your Magos. I just want to leave you with the Magos. And you can come back and see this. But okay, and finally, our last one, and then I'm going to bring on Neil. What's that? seed of the king. Oh, this is right before. I was going to include this before. This is just when he's taking hostages and collecting Daniel. Okay. What I want you to see from tonight's work is that the world is very different. And you and I can get a view of the 3rd century's world through the fictional craftsmanship of the author of Daniel. Now, and remember, please, in antiquity, they were arguing. People say, oh, this is Aramaic. No, the people who actually read what was in Alexandria said there's no way this thing is original Hebrew. There's no way it is. This thing is Greek originally. For all the very same reasons I'm pointing out to you. The vocabulary that they couldn't keep up with, right? It's epic. Taking a step from Gilgamesh up to Homer is an epic jump. It's an epic jump. Yeah, it is. And I think people are beginning to see that. People are looking now and focusing on the Greek. And the so-called Septuagint scholars, who aren't really Septuagint scholars, those are Hebrew language scholars. Right? They're not scholars of the Septuagint. If they were, and they had read anything outside of the Septuagint, they wouldn't be saying what they're saying. And it's just the same thing that Africanus said. So with that, I want to leave you tonight, and I want you to be thinking about, I'm not going to leave you. I'm going to interview Neil now. We're going to do this differently. But before we jump in with Neil, I just want you to know we're following those mystery rites that they're performing within the world of these quote-unquote pirates, right? These non-policized nations, right? These groups of people. And it's not the first time in history they had migrating groups of people, wandering groups of people, right? Okay, fantastic. Now I want to call in Neil. Open up. Go ahead, Chewy. Get him up here. And I want to have a conversation with Neil, but I told him you're not allowed to bring any.
I just pulled out my camera just because I had it all packed because I'm moving to Florida. But I pulled it back up just for this. I just got here a couple minutes ago, so I wasn't even watching. I just got here.
Okay, I will let you use it in whatever capacity you want in a minute. But I want to ask you, you're moving to Florida, is that right?
Yep. I'll be there within a week. Okay. I'll move all this week.
Now, are you going to have your studio? Are you going to have your studio set up there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And I might set up a different background. I haven't decided yet. I'm gonna bring this with me. I just put this back up too. I like the red. It's like a purple red. It's like a perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, you know what you got to get is some of that beautiful beach. You're probably gonna have a beach background or something like that. Tell me this. What tempted you to go to Florida? Was it
there's a lot of people down there. Danny Jones is down there. Derek's down there. Other people are down there. Quite a few people are down there that I know. I have a family member that's down there. It's just it was a perfect spot to be. Get out of the cold. I'm up here in New York. Get out of the cold.
You're gonna get a tan.
I'm gonna be laughing in January when all my friends and people from up here are shoveling snow, and I'm out in the pool or something.
Yeah. You're gonna get a tan. It's gonna change. Watch. It's gonna change you. You're gonna get a tan. And you're going to be hanging around doing a lot of socializing. And I think you're going to love it. I think you're going to absolutely love it. So kudos to you. I hope that I can come and visit. That would be nice if I do
plan on getting you down there to interview you in person, like a Danny Jones style, you and me. And then you can probably do another Danny Jones because I'll be able to take you to Danny while you're down in Florida. So you'll have a little mini tour going, a little Amon Lady Babylon mini tour. You'll do my channel, you'll do Danny's channel, and they're all going to be in person, high def cameras, because that shit got 1 million views, and we need more of those. People want to see more of that.
Good. Okay. Good. Let's do more of it then. That's fantastic. I hope that you really enjoy the ambiance of Florida. I hope you really kind of soak in that because I know you're going to be around alligators, right?
Yes, that's the reason why I picked this location that I'm going to be moving to. Is right in the back. There's a big pond, and there's a big sign that says, "Watch out for poisonous snakes. Don't feed the alligators." I go, all right, I'm getting this place. And it's all out in nature, has a very pagan vibe, palm trees everywhere. It's a lot of trees, it's very green, a lot of water. That's something good about being around water and trees. That's good for the brain, good for the psyche, the soul. I shouldn't even say the brain. Good for the soul, right?
I totally agree.
Aristotle would agree with me on that. I think Aristotle would say, yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah, I think anybody with brains would tell you the very same thing. I think it's good that you get out of the concrete for a while and get out to the Mother Nature. So you found a nice place that'll cross over. It'll bring you the nature, and that's awesome. That's awesome, fantastic. Okay, I want to ask you this: you had a video that you did. Do you want to talk about your video at all? Because
ask me anything you want, man.
Okay, fantastic. Look, what are you doing when you create a video like that? Are you engaging in what the Romans did when they made public demonstrations for doctors? Are you engaging in the museum? Tell us about it, because people are going to be harsh on you, and they're going to say, "Oh, you shouldn't be so critical with the Bible."
That's what a lot of people are saying. That it was too much. I was too mean. It was an ad hom. Blah 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 blah. When the same people do the same thing to everyone else. When they do a rebuttal against some apologist that they don't like, they think he's a misogynist or whatever. They think he's a liar. They think he's wrong. They'll do the same. They're engaged in the same rhetoric. Look, Cicero talked about it. Aristotle talked about it. Demosthenes talked about it. There's a style of rhetoric, sometimes a little ad hom here and there, goes a long way with a good argument. An ad hom without a good argument doesn't look good. A little ad hom with a good argument, that's a nice spicy tomato right there.
I thought it was more than just a street fight, because you brought out so many sources. There's no way that you can ever get a response to this, because you just brought out sources and just showed people. You just stuck to the facts and showed people. And I think the people who want to obscure the history, who want to obfuscate, those people, I think they don't know how to handle you, Neil, when all you're doing is bringing them sources. I don't know. What do you think?
That's what I was trying to do. I'm trying to demonstrate, take people by the hand, show you the sources, let you see it for yourself, let you decide, and then even bring in a couple other, I brought in Paolo Carente at the end, a scholar who wrote a dissertation on James Frazer and Dying and Rising Gods, who's a current professor, who's publishing books every month and articles every month on these things. Like, I'm saying, look, there are people who specialize in these things, and there are people who don't. So I'm trying to point that out to people. And then there's the primary sources that's king of all. The primary sources are king of all. Scholars are great, but the primary sources are king. You can't argue with the primary sources. If it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. That's why I went straight to Diodorus of Sicily, Euphorion of Colchis, and what was the other primary source? Callimachus. I say, look, if you don't know, first of all, you can't pronounce Semele right. Get out of here. You're in the wrong room. Go back to grade school. But all right, let's let him pass. All right, you screwed up. It might have been a mistake. All right, fine. If you don't know the central mythology of Dionysus as being a god, him and Osiris, gods of resurrection, that's their theme. That's their whole purpose. That's what they're there for. That's what the Orphic tablets present. Is it the hope in Dionysus' resurrection? Is the hope in your own resurrection? It's the mysteries, right? That's why they find golden Orphic tablets all over the Mediterranean, not just in Macedonia, not just in Thrace, not just in central Greece, not in Italy, in Crete, in Egypt, and then from the 3rd century BCE all the way through the 5th century AD, there's hundreds of golden leaves, Orphic golden leaves, in burial sites in Israel. So you can't say, though, there's the Greeks over there and there's the Jews over here. No. Orphism was an international religion of the ancient world. It was an international cult that people in Latin participated in, people in Greek participated, people in Aramaic, Syriac, Egyptian. They were all participating in Orphism. Orphism was widespread. And so I wanted to point that out to people. Like, look, this stuff was big. The idea of you even, you know what else you get in some of these Orphics fragments, there is sort of a hint at original sin. And the Titans who eat the flesh of baby Dionysus Zagreus, as Euphorion calls him, he just says his name's Dionysus Zagreus, one name. They eat his flesh in a sacrifice, and they consume his flesh. And Zeus is so angry at this that first of all, he kills them all, and then he takes their flesh, who after them consuming the body of Dionysus have this spark of divinity in them, and he creates the world out of it. And because the world's created out of the Titan flesh, humans, as a result, have a divine spark in them, Dionysus, and also sort of a sin, fleshly, what's the word?
A titanic cannibalism.
Right. So the idea of eating the fruit, right, which causes sin and enter the world in the Septuagint in the Old Testament, right? They are eating Zagreus, who's a fruit god. Think about that. So there's something going on there. There's something interesting going on there. You also have the dyad of Zoe and Adamus, indestructible life. That's Zoe. That's Zagreus. So I don't know. I'm pointing all this stuff out. I didn't go that deep in the video, but I did think I actually laid out that's pretty clear how influential the Orphic Dionysian Bacchic mythology is on the wider Mediterranean world all day. And
don't forget that the literary tradition carries with it the idea that Bacchic religion swept across the world. They're getting it in Thebes, and it's hitting them. People, the whole story is about why people won't accept it, and then when they come to accept it, how they're forced to do so. And it's sweeping everything. There's the longest epic of Greek is about a war of Bacchic religion spreading all the way to India, right? So,
and Poseidonus of Rhodes, when he traveled to India, he noticed how similar the Shaivism was to Bacchic, to the Orphism, to how it was Shiva was like. He called Shiva an Indian Dionysus. Yeah, and there are some scholars, Franz Cumont, I think it's Franz Cumont, who points out that Shiva and Sabazius are cognate through this Indo-European word Sowa, S-W-A, which is where we get Saba and Shiva from. They just go in different directions. And it's the Caucasus region where he says this probably came from viticulture, because that's where, by the way, it actually lines up, maps on perfectly. Viticulture was discovered in the Caucasus region. That's where they learn how to cultivate the vine and make wine. Sabazius is from there. Gorgeous. So it lines up. That evidence is. I think there's some strong stuff.
People will probably argue, is the Greek coming from the Sanskrit, or the Sanskrit from the Greek? I think they're both coming, those common roots, from that Pelasgian ancestor. You were reading something about Pelasgian the other day. What'd you find out? Oh yeah, the Pelasgians. That's what the Greeks called their ancestors. Yeah, there was something about some writing somewhere that somebody was thought. It's what scholars refer to as Indo-European. Yeah. Yeah. I don't want the Indo-European though. I don't want the Indo-European. No one likes that term. I don't know why. I don't care what you call it. It is what it is. But you know what? I want to say this too. Orpheus was claimed as a prophet by the Jews living in Alexandria. We have like 3 or 4 primary sources of claiming that Orpheus either was the son of or the teacher of Musaeus, who they thought was Moses. I'm not making this up. Read James Charlesworth's pseudepigrapha. It's right in there. It's in the book 2. Go to the Orphica. Read what he says. They claimed Orpheus as their prophet. Not only that, everyone talks about apocalyptic literature,
right? Jewish texts are apocalyptic in nature. Apocalyptic nature, that's Judaism, right? Well, what is Orpheus doing? He's called a theologian. The first time anyone's ever called a theologian is Orpheus. And that goes back to the classical period, not the Hellenistic period. And also he's revealing, they use the word apocalypse. He's revealing mysteries about catastrophic events in the future, about the gods, coming down and enacting justice. It's apocalyptic literature. And
it's what you generate when you're Christed, baby. And that's what they're doing. It's the fad that they're doing. And by the 3rd century, when Septuagint's being produced, it's down to a very specific. He's teaching him the mystery, and they're using the accoutrements to do it. And it is a vision. And this is the vision. You realize those visions is the same thing the oracles and the prophets are doing. And they're all using drugs to get there. Right?
Do you know that the word God in English is a cognate with Gotha, which is also a cognate with soma and haoma? It's a drug. It's cognate with drugs. The word for God, the English word for God, is in cognate with drugs. So that leads me to think that there's in the origins of religion itself, there was ordained priestly psychedelic use. Whether it be cannabis use in the temple, whether it be drinking soma or haoma or kukeon or some sort of drink, some sort of theriac. I think over time it gets weeded out and it just gets relegated to certain groups, and then eventually Christianity, as the Roman Church takes over, they sort of corporatize religion and they sort of water it all down. And it doesn't, we know religion's no longer what it used to be in the ancient world. People actually met the gods and had real revelations using psychedelics.
Right. And they took that out. It was one of the Christian control mechanisms, is removing that from society. So now you, in a way, you then control the God experience that those drugs naturally would bring out. So it's like taking away religion. Monism takes away the natural religion that is, coming through us through the poisons and the plants and the, everything. Love it.
That's why I brought up that source. Because Danny Jones asked Dan about this, you talking about how there's drugs in the beginning of Christianity. He's basically saying there's just no sources that reflect that. That's why I brought up that source from Hippolytus talking about Marcus. And like some people might say that's only one guy, who cares? But then it's like, wait a minute though. Marcus was a Valentinian, a huge sect of Christianity going into beginning to the middle of the 2nd century, 120s, 130s, 140s, around that period. Huge group of Christians in the West, in Rome, and in France. The Marcosians brought Christianity to France, and they're named after this guy. The guy that got caught slipping drugs into the Eucharist and giving it to women so that they can prophesy and do all this crazy Sybil. It's like Sybil stuff, And so I pointed that out. Like, look, he's calling it a heresy, but this is 50 years later. It's actually longer. I think Hippolytus writes around 220 or something, and he's writing about a guy who's like 60, 70 years ago. He don't know what was going on back then. He's just, So I think at the time. Go ahead.
Why would you want to be stopping people from entering ecstatic states? Why would you want to be stopping people from using drugs? Is it a control? Part of me thinks it's an attempt to take that vision all to yourself and control it, which in that case makes sense, because the secret gospel of Mark, he's still got his boy and he's staying with his boy and he's doing what is obviously sexual things. It says they're entering into love. It says the kid was sexually attracted to him. What?
I thought about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
The major schism that happens in the 1st or 2nd century, actually, I think it probably started in the 1st century. The very first schism of Christianity ever. It's not the schism of Orthodoxy and Catholicism. that happens centuries and centuries later. It's not the schism over the Trinity, the Arian heresy. It's not that. It's the schism of divine revelation versus bishopric authority. And they call the people who were getting divine revelation, Marcus is one of them, drug use is an example, they call those people Gnostics. They just wave a blanket term over all of them. They didn't all call themselves Gnostics. Some of them might have. I think there's some evidence that the Nicene call themselves Gnostics. Cool. We can agree with that. They didn't all call themselves that. They're all different. Valentinians aren't the same as the Nicenes. The Carpocratians aren't the same as the Valentinians. The Sethians aren't the same as the Nicenes either. They're all different. They're all doing their own thing. They're all Christians, though. They're all calling themselves Christianoi. Now, the schism happens between two different groups of people. It's not Gnostics and Orthodoxy. This is what it is. Bishop authority versus personal divine revelation. They don't want people to be able to say, I've gotten divine revelation, and this is what I was told by the angel or God or whoever, by Jesus or Mary, whatever. They don't want that because that's too much chaos. You can't control that. You can't corporatize that. Imagine if you're a corporate McDonald's and everybody, all the McDonald's franchisees, they're all just doing their own thing, selling their own products. One of them sells chicken, the other one sells burgers, the other one sells. You can't have that. They all have to be in uniform, and they all have to follow who's on top. Bishopric authority. The bishops rule. The bishops decide. The bishops determine things like Christmas and Easter or whatever. But that was what the schism was. Those people were fighting for personal divine revelation, and they call them Gnostics, but that's not what they were. It's just the freedom to express religion in an artistic way and to be connected to God by yourself. They didn't want that. That's what they ruled out in the 1st, 2nd century. That's what became the Gnostic heresy. That's why you get people like Hippolytus and Irenaeus and Justin Martyr writing about these older sects that are gone and can't defend themselves. And we're Orthodox and they're not. That's what happened.
It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder if they're all practicing the mystery, right? It's the central element that they're all supposedly involved in directly. If I can go to the Carpocratians and I can ingest the priestesses' body fluids in order to have my communion that will take me to that place where I can see that living dead girl and then come back. Why would I submit to an episcopal or a bishopric authority, right? It makes me wonder, what did those bishops ultimately do that quashed the activities of those other mysteries that were harnessing the chemical and the sexual communion? I wonder, what do you think they did eventually? They just start killing people or something?
Yeah, it's power. They want the power. I mean, that's just human nature, is to strive for more power. The will to power. Everyone has that in them. And that's what happened with these orthodoxy, these bishops, who wanted to they just want control over this church. And it fits better for a Roman imperial system to have one church with one creed, one dogma, and all the cities, have one text that they read, one Bible, and they don't have no Nicene document, no Gospel of Thomas, no. It's all just what we think is the correct, which was word Orthodox means, the correct, straight way, right?
Yeah.
So
what about the eunuchs? Do you like the way, Jesus is walking around giving out his death-inducing drug, and he's being Christed. He's casting out the demons. How is it that we drop the whole eunuch thing? Because he was big on the eunuchs. He was telling everybody, look, if you can be a eunuch for the kingdom of heaven.
So one of the things I've been noticing about how we can make inferences from texts that tell us stuff about other things. For example, when Heraclitus talks about how he's disgusted at the Dionysian religion, how they worship idols, and he says how they wash themselves in blood. He says they purify themselves in blood as if it's cleaning them. And that's what we can infer from that the Dionysian religion at the time of Heraclitus in the 6th century BCE, pre-Socratic times, classical period, we can infer from his text that the Dionysian cults were doing some sort of ritual where they were being washed in the blood of Dionysus. Just like he was represented by a bull in some cases, sometimes a goat, depends on what text we're looking at or whatever. But he's the ritual sacrificial animal, which is what you get with Jesus as the lamb, because he's the Passover lamb. But what I'm getting at is you can infer things, right? You can infer from that. That's how you don't have to find you don't have to find in the Bacchae some sort of reference to them being washed in the blood of Dionysus. You can go to Heraclitus and do a cross reference and infer from that. Why would Heraclitus make that up, right? All right, that's one thing. In the 2nd century, the Nicene preacher told his cult members to go and watch the mysteries of Attis, because he told them, you will see your own mystery of Christ within the mysteries of Attis. This is what he says to them. He says, I'm paraphrasing, but he says, I encourage my followers to go and visit the Hilaria, and go and watch the Holy Week, and you'll see your own mystery of Christ within the mysteries of Attis. Now, he even has a whole hymn dedicated to Attis that he applies to Jesus, and it's very syncretic, where he's calling him Osiris, he's calling him Dionysus, he's calling him Bacchus, he's calling him Attis, Adonis, all that stuff. But the reason why I bring that up is because you brought up the eunuch thing. Why would he tell his followers to go and watch people become eunuchs for the kingdom, for the cult of Attis, as if that's where you're going to find your mystery in? So I can infer from that in the early 2nd century, middle 2nd century, there were Christians who there might have been something related to people becoming eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven, just as Jesus says in Matthew, right? Matthew, becoming eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven, right? So to me, making an inference from the Nicene document, from the Nicene preacher, there's something there for sure.
I think it's an integral element that people, because they don't read sources like the one that you just brought up, right? They don't jump into that. And it's because they want to promote a theology or a viewpoint, and shame on the biblical scholars for doing the same thing. Shame on them for
they fall victim to the same dogmas that the church wants them to. It's like they do the same thing, even if they're not Christians, even if they're atheist scholars. They do this thing where, they're not the Naesenes, those are heretics. Who cares? They don't tell us anything about Christianity. Oh, the Carpocratians, they don't tell us anything about early Christianity. Why am I looking there? Let's look at Justin Martyr. Let's look at Clement of Rome. And it's like, why would you only look at who became orthodoxy 4 centuries later?
Because you're in that camp, because you're a monist of that specific camp, and you can't be flexible. It's the problem with monist education, right? First thing you do is you go in, you destroy all of the sources that aren't your holy source, and you plant your holy source. Why do you think they're doing that in schools, right?
You're right. We're so lucky to even know about these heretics. We wouldn't know about them. We lost all of their texts. They're all gone. We only know about them through people talking crap about them. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. That's it. And then the Nicene document, that's an interesting story. They found that in Mount Athos in Greece, in some monk location, just buried in a bunch of text that was just by itself, and no one even knew it was there. Someone stumbled on it. It was half ripped, barely legible. And they're like, what the hell's this? And it's this Nicene preacher document. Some crazy shit, dude. Yeah, about Attis and eunuchs and the Great Mother and all this crazy shit.
And probably some monk wiped his backside with it, at one time or another, and threw it back into a pile. Yeah, because it was, it wasn't the good stuff. It wasn't the stuff that's ruled to be the orthodox. I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. Okay, I want to end on this. I want to ask you. You've got an interview coming out with Danny Jones. Tell me about that and when people you think can see it.
I'm not sure when Danny's going to drop it, but it's coming out before. It will be out before the election. That's for sure, because he wants to. We talk about it's not really political, but it's about the founding fathers. It's about the Anacreontic Society, the Star Spangled. Remember, you and I had a chat about this one time, but we went 10 times deeper. We get into the Statue of Liberty. We get into some of the stuff that some of the Napoleon and the French Revolution and the Enlightenment and the drive to go back to classical sources to draw wisdom from. And that's what I kind of hammered away in that podcast, was how much, the founding fathers, for example, they wanted to create some sort of system based off of the ideals of the Roman Republic, Athenian democracy, something in between, something that can fit the 13 colony system that they had going on at the time period. And they're like, they're looking at the because at the time period, the Holy Roman Empire still existed for another 10 years. I think it was like some early in the 19th century or 19th century, the Holy Roman Empire finally falls because of Napoleon. But anyways, they're looking at this dying carcass, bloated carcass, religious system, theocracy, where there's an emperor and a pope, and they decide, and there's all these different, and the bishops are on top, and the bishops have to go to every city, and every jarl, or not jarl, whatever they called them at the time. I forgot what they're called, but they're like governors, right?
Burger. I think they're called burgers. Is that?
Yeah. Every governor in Europe had a bishop right next to them, looking over their shoulder and watching everything they do. And they're basically like spies. That's their job. Their job is to spy on the governor and report back to Rome and say, or in the whoever the power source is at the time, whether it's the emperor in Spain or the Habsburgs over in Austria, whoever it is, right? Depending on what time period. And their job is to report back and say they're not doing that. He's being heretical. He's doing some shit. He's acting like a pagan right now. We gotta do something about it. And so the United States decided that we don't want that system. We want a free system, right? And so they then set up a constitutional republic based off what we found in ancient Roman Republic, based off the writings of Cicero and Demosthenes and Solon and Lycurgus and all these brilliant thinkers of the ancient classical world.
Oh, wait, let me mention. I'm glad you mentioned Lycurgus. Lycurgus, by the way, in Plutarch, did you notice that he talks about Lycurgus set up a system for education for women? Yep. Just for the women, because he wanted, while people were away campaigning, he didn't want stuff to fall apart. So women's education was mandatory, and Plutarch says it was heavily driven by a physical component, as well as a working, what we would call an educational component that was strictly not physical. I mean, it's gorgeous. I think it.
Aristotle brags about how we have women in our society who can think for themselves and they are educated and they can do, like they're proud of that.
Yeah,
you want that. There's nothing like, so yeah. There's things that were happening in that time period. They're looking at the current times and going, what do we need to do to get back to real society that's free and that's Libertas, that goddess, that great goddess Libertas, Minerva, with the shield and the helmet and the sword. That's the symbol. That's the god that rules us.
Yeah. The divine virgin, baby, of democracy. We love it. We love it. And she goes back to the serpents. She goes back to the serpents and the practice of the mysterion. So that mystery is extremely important throughout history. And I'm proud to say, just like you were saying, Caucasus is the area where, you're going to get this cultivation that's going to push Bacchic religion across the world. I love it. I'm always going to tell people.
Herodotus thought that the Medes were named after Medea.
Right. right? And that she was the author of that Bacchic religion. It would make sense because the communion can only come through a physical source. So it would make sense that whatever she did with her brain to figure out what happens and when you consume this, what it does to your body. God damn that.
And that Medic kingdom stretched all the way from India to the Greek speaking world in Anatolia.
Oh God. Oh God, I love it. Okay, we're overloaded. I'm going to let people go. Thank you for coming tonight. Gnostic, I'm going to give you the last word, and then I'm going to say, hail Satan. What's the last word?
I want to think of something good to say.
Think. Of all your recent experiences. Where's the battle, Hercules?
Sword and shield. And by what I mean by sword and shield is grab your texts, grab your sources, and go to war. Hail Satan.
Yeah. Hail Satan. Hail Satan.
Violent drugs are working, sing the Muse, you heard it. Hot fire like bourbon, 666 Medusa, Beelzebub's verses, open cams to the moon. What has become of you? Red and white mushrooms. I choose you by the trees where the flowers bloom. Smile and wave, thunder God make the purple rain. My girl is Mary Jane, snake venom, twisted cane of the Sabbath, Teddy Bass, Mr. Black Magic, singing hallelujah. Jeepers creepers, high purple I move, evergreen tree grower, white leopard jump the snow, strength water, flowers that grow, purple, golden, yellow, thunder Venus, Oculus Athena, the Antichrist you dream of.